Okay, so you know how we search for stuff online, right? And it used to be like we'd get these endless pages of links to sort through.
Oh yeah, tons of them.
But things are like really changing fast now.
Definitely a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, so today we're diving into what's called answer engine optimization, or AEO.
AO, exactly.
And this is all about how search engines aren't just giving us links anymore.
They're cutting to the chase.
Yeah, like think about when Google just like throws an answer right at you, or when Siri or Alexa like talk back with the info you need.
Or even those AI things like ChatGPT where you get like a whole essay as a response.
Yeah, exactly. That's the world of answer engines we're talking about. And getting a handle on this AEO thing, it's like seriously important now for anyone who wants to, stay visible online.
Oh, absolutely.
So our goal today is to like cut through all the jargon and stuff and give you a solid understanding of what AEO is and why it's such a big deal.
Yeah, because like for years and years, it was all about getting to that top spot on the search results page.
Oh yeah, number one.
But what's so interesting now is that search engines are getting really sophisticated. Like they want to give you the answer right then and there.
Boom, there it is.
Yeah, often they don't even want you to have to click anywhere.
Which kind of makes sense, I guess.
Right. And this is not just some like small change. This is a total shift in how we find and use information online.
Huge shift.
So getting AEO, it's not just about catching up. It's about understanding where the internet is going.
Yeah, future-proofing yourself, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit. What exactly is answer engine optimization?
Like if you had to explain it to someone.
Yeah, in plain English.
Okay. So it's basically about making your online content like super fine-tuned so that all those smart search engines and AI assistants can grab exactly the information they need to answer people's questions.
Like they're going in there with a scalpel.
Yeah. And it's a bit of a different way of thinking compared to that old school SEO.
The classic SEO.
Yeah, where it was all about getting your web page to rank higher than everyone else's.
Get up there on that list.
But with AEO, it's more about being the source of the answer itself.
So you're the answer guy.
Exactly. You're the go-to.
So instead of just trying to like drive a ton of traffic to your website.
Which can still be a good thing, of course.
Yeah, of course.
The main goal of AEO is to be that featured snippet, the voice search result.
Like the chosen one.
Yeah, the trusted piece of information that all the AI systems rely on.
So it's not about like having the biggest, flashiest store on the street anymore.
It's more like having the answer pop up in everyone's pocket right when they need it.
So it's like being that super helpful friend everyone goes to for advice.
Exactly.
Okay, but how do we actually make this happen? Like, it can't just be about throwing a bunch of question keywords into our content, right?
No, definitely not. It's way more nuanced than that.
Gotta be smarter than that.
There are a few key principles involved. The first one, and maybe the most obvious, is really understanding what users are looking for, what their intent is.
Getting in their heads.
Yeah, like search engines are getting incredibly good at figuring out what someone actually needs when they type or say something.
Like they can read between the lines.
Yeah, and they're going to prioritize content that gives the most accurate and complete answer to that specific need.
So it's not just about keywords anymore.
It's about understanding the human behind the search.
So like for anyone who's making content, whether it's for their business or their blog or whatever,
Right.
the first step is really putting themselves in their audience's shoes.
Like empathy is key.
Yeah, what are the big questions that people in my area of expertise have?
Right, and then how can I structure my content to address those questions head on?
Boom, answer their questions.
Yeah, make it super clear and comprehensive.
So it's all about research too, right? Like actually digging into the words people use.
Absolutely. Think less about those general keywords and more about the long phrases people actually use when they're asking a question.
Like real world language.
Right, and then
Yeah.
the way you organize and format all that information is super important.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Right, and that brings us to the second principle, optimizing for featured snippets.
Ah, those are like the VIPs of search results, right?
Exactly, the prime real estate.
So how do we increase our chances of getting our content into those little boxes at the top?
Well, Google usually pulls the information for featured snippets from content that is super well organized and easy to understand.
Makes sense. They want it to be digestible.
Yeah. So think about using things like bullet points to break down steps, or key features, or creating tables to compare data, or even just straight up using a question and answer format in your writing.
Like we're doing right now.
Exactly. If you make it super easy for Google to find the exact answer someone's looking for, your chances of getting featured go way up.
So it's about serving the answer on a silver platter.
Exactly. Ready to go.
So we've got user intent and featured snippets. What's next?
Okay, so you mentioned schema markup earlier.
Oh, yeah, that sounds a bit techy.
It can sound that way, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple.
Break it down for us.
Schema markup, or structured data, is basically like adding little invisible labels to the code of your website.
Like secret messages.
Kinda. And these labels give search engines more information about the different types of content on your page.
Like context clues.
Exactly. So it's like adding a tag that says, hey, this section is a link to frequently asked questions, or this is a product review with a 5-star rating, or this is a step-by-step guide.
So it's like giving the search engines a really detailed map of your website.
Exactly. It helps them not just read the words, but actually understand what those words mean.
Like they're not just skimming, they're really getting it.
And this is especially important for answer engines because it allows them to pick out very specific bits of information instead of just pointing to a whole page and saying, the answer's somewhere in here, good luck.
So schema markup is like being a good host to the search engines.
Yeah, make them feel at home.
Okay, so we've got user intent, we've got featured snippets, we've got schema markup. What's the fourth principle?
A fourth one is all about optimizing for conversational and voice search.
Oh, right, like people talking to their devices.
Yeah, exactly. And that's becoming more and more common.
Everyone's got a smart speaker these days.
So with voice search, people tend to use full sentences and a more natural conversational tone.
Like they're chatting with a friend.
Yeah, so instead of typing best pizza near me, someone might ask their smart speaker, hey, what's the best pizza place around here that's open late?
So much more casual.
Right, so optimizing for conversational language means using those longer keyword phrases that sound like how people actually talk and giving answers that are direct and natural sounding.
Like you're having a conversation.
Yeah, think about answering the who, what, where, when, why, and how in your content.
Be thorough, cover all the bases.
Exactly.
Okay, so principle number 5, what do we got?
This one's super important. It's all about building authoritative and trustworthy content.
Okay, so like being the expert.
Yeah, search engines want to give people reliable information from credible sources.
They don't want to spread misinformation.
Right, so content that's well-researched, factually accurate, and ideally coming from someone who's known as an expert in their field.
You gotta have the credentials.
Yeah, that kind of content has a much higher chance of being picked as the best answer.
Makes sense you want to trust the source.
And Google actually has this big emphasis on something called EET, which stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Like a whole checklist.
Yeah, and those factors play a huge role in what content gets shown in answer engines.
Okay, so we've covered what AEO is and the main principles behind it.
Yeah, we've laid the groundwork.
But why should businesses or anyone with a website really care about this stuff? Like, what's the big payoff?
The main benefit is that you get more visibility right when someone is looking for the information you have.
Like you're right there when they need you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when your content shows up as a direct answer in search results, whether it's a featured snippet or a voice response, your brand or your expertise gets seen by more people.
You're front and center.
It's about instantly giving people what they want and showing them that you're a valuable resource.
So you're the problem solver.
Exactly.
Okay, so can you give us some examples of who really benefits from using AEO?
Sure, think about local businesses, especially with voice search becoming so popular.
Like people asking their phones for stuff?
Yeah, imagine someone saying, hey Siri, where can I find a good coffee shop near me?
And boom, a coffee shop pops up.
Right, a local coffee shop that's optimized for AEO and has all their information clearly listed, like their hours and location.
Are going to be the answer.
Yeah, and that could lead to a new customer walking through their door.
So it's a win-win.
Right. What about online stores?
Yeah, like e-commerce sites.
AEO is huge for them too. It's a chance to answer those product-specific questions right in the search results.
Like before people even click on anything.
Yeah, someone might search, what are the dimensions of this bookshelf? And they could see a featured snippet right from the product page.
Instant answer.
Exactly. And that kind of thing can really influence people's buying decisions.
Yeah, because they're getting the information they need right away.
And for bloggers and content creators who are trying to build an audience.
The influencers.
Yeah, AEO is super valuable for establishing themselves as thought leaders.
The go-to people.
Yeah, by consistently giving the best, most accurate answers to questions in their niche, they build trust and authority.
So they're seen as the experts.
And that can lead to more traffic to their website, more engagement on social media, and just a bigger overall online presence.
More followers, more likes.
But if you ignore AEO in today's world, you risk becoming inviolable to a lot of people who want those quick answers.
So it's not just a nice to have, it's a need to have.
Exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like we really need to be on top of this AEO stuff.
It's the future.
So where do we even begin? Like,
Yeah.
what are some practical first steps people can take?
Well, the first thing is to take a good look at all the content you already have online.
Do an inventory.
Yeah, go through your website, your blog posts, everything, and see which pages already answer common questions in your industry.
See what you've got.
And then think about how you can make those answers even clearer and easier to find.
Reorganize things.
Yeah. Are you using headings, subheadings, bullet points, and tables to highlight the important stuff?
Make it scannable.
Exactly.
So it's about optimizing what we already have.
Yeah, make it answer engine friendly.
What's another step we can take?
Start using structured data, that schema markup we talked about.
Oh, yeah, those little tags.
Yeah, explore the different types of schema that are out there, like FAQ schema for frequently asked questions, how-to schema for step-by-step guides, and product schema for e-commerce listings.
Lots of options.
Yeah, and Google has some helpful tools like the Schema Markup Validator that can help you add these tags to your website's code.
So you don't have to be a coding whiz.
Nope, and even using just a few key schema types can make a big difference in how answer engines see your content.
So it's worth the effort.
Yeah, for example, using product schema to clearly label the price and availability of a product can make that information show up right in the search results.
So helpful for shoppers. Okay, so we've done our content audit. We've added schema markup. What else?
You could create a really good FAQ section on your website if you don't have one already.
The classic FAQ.
Yeah, a well-organized FAQ page that directly answers the most common questions your audience has.
So it's like a one-stop shop for information.
Yeah, and make sure each question and answer is clearly marked up using that FAQ schema we talked about.
Don't forget the tags.
Right.
So it seems like being successful with AEO is all about understanding what people are asking and then structuring our content in a way that these smart systems can easily use.
Yeah, it's like a partnership.
And as AI keeps getting more and more advanced,
Which is happening really fast.
AEO is only going to become more important.
It's not going away.
So those who get on board now are going to have a real advantage.
They'll be ahead of the curve.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into answer engine optimization,
It's been a journey.
it's clear that this isn't just some small technical tweak.
This is a big deal.
It's a fundamental shift in how we find and use information online.
It changes everything.
So I want you to think about how this move towards direct answers might change the way you look for information and make decisions in your own life and in your work.
It's worth reflecting on.
What steps can you take today to adapt to this world where answers are becoming so readily available?
Be proactive.
It's definitely something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Until then.